morning, everybody. It is fantastic to be back here at Team Fairchild. I guess about 9 years ago, I got to wander around this stage and address folks just like you. What a fantastic way to have some career development, and you guys need to thank Colonel Samuelson and Colonel Fritz because if you had been under my command, we would have been doing little briefings back in the squadron, small group meetings, and all those same things that you've done 100 times. So this is a much better form to do that. I just wanted to take a few minutes today to share with you some things that I have picked up on and come to value when it comes to leadership during the course of my 30-year career. And I was really glad to see the video that kind of started this program today, because it talked about everybody being a leader. If leadership were some checklist that we could pull out of a book and just start ticking off the boxes, the world would be full of millions of great leaders. And while there are a number of really good books on leadership and what leadership traits and characteristics are, it's more nuanced than just reading about it. And I think you do have to read about it and understand what leadership is. But at the end of the day, true leadership is about being able to motivate people to do something that they wouldn't normally do of their own free will. Think about that. And in our business, that's really, really important, because we sometimes ask people to do some really difficult and tough things. Now, again, everybody, every single one of you, every single member of Team Fairchild is a leader. You just have it in varying degrees and different levels of responsibility and different levels of authority. But you can make a difference as a leader wherever you are, from your little work section to running the entire wing to running the entire Air Force. And so we each have to develop those characteristics and leadership style and traits that are going to be effective for us, but also that are going to be effective for those people around us. And yet we have to remember, we're not all blessed with the same talents. We each come to the fight with a different skill set. If everybody had the capability of LeBron James, he wouldn't be a great basketball player. If everybody had the mind of Albert Einstein, we would figure out how to get energy for free, and would have a long time ago. But we all do come to the table with three things: knowledge, skill, and then talent. Two of them you can do something about, one you can't. I've already alluded to that. But we know very, very much that the Air Force wants us to gain knowledge and to gain skill. And it's something that we have complete control over. And it's something that, as leaders, we need to inspire and motivate each and every one of those that are under our charge to get as much knowledge and to develop as many skills as we can, such that we can most effectively and efficiently contribute to making the mission happen, whatever that may be. I would argue that the most important characteristic that everyone brings to the fight is our attitude. Because our attitude not only affects how we interact with everyone, it affects everyone around us and how they interact with us and how they move forward into getting the job or the mission done. Now, I know some of you in the audience are old enough to remember a guy named Andre Agassi. And some of you have no idea who he is. But he was a famous tennis player back in the 1980s, and he was somewhat of a rebel. And he did some television commercial for a camera, and I think it was a Canon or something. Anyway, he was running all over the tennis court making these kind of shots, you know, behind the leg, turned around backwards, and just really crazy, a silly commercial actually. But at the end of it, he comes sliding in front of the tennis net and flips those little sunglasses down and says, "Image is everything. Image is everything." And it was a hugely popular commercial at the time. But it's really not everything. It's really not everything. Your attitude is everything. And how you choose to interact with people really makes a difference in how effective you can be as a leader. And I'd like to play just a really short video clip for you, something that I saw from Lieutenant General retired Dave Faydock that shows just how powerful a positive attitude can be. So, obviously, having a positive attitude, having a positive atmosphere can really make a huge difference. And there's actually quite a bit of studies that validates just how true this is. I think, you know, we talk about dignity and respect in the Air Force a lot, and rightly so. And it really is a mirror. Because all of us want to have people treat us with dignity and to show us respect. But how we treat other people is actually as important. And it really does validate that golden rule concept of treating others as you want to be treated. And it's really such an incredibly simple concept, and yet it's one that we constantly struggle with. Feedback. When I was a wing commander several different times, I always had my colonels in, my group commanders and chiefs of staff or whatever. And one of the things that I would always ask them is, when's the last time you had a sit-down formal feedback session? When somebody actually sat down with you one-on-one and told you what you were doing well and what you could improve upon. And I was astounded. Because for most of them, they said, oh, back sometime when I was a captain. A few of them, very sadly, told me they had never had a sit-down formal feedback. Yeah, they had filled out the paperwork and done the little checklist and ticked the box so they could sign off their ODR with a good conscience. But never had anybody sat them down and given them an honest assessment of where they were and where they ought to go, and some goals that they ought to have to motivate and inspire them to become better. And I was determined not to let that happen on my watch. And I was going to demonstrate through my own action to my commanders and hopefully they would push that downhill to their commanders and so on. And I hope there are not very many of you in this audience that can say, no, I'm one of those people, I've never really had formal feedback. And if you are, I hope that you'll go back to your supervisor and say, we need to sit down and I want to have feedback. And feedback is actually a team sport. There's getting feedback, but there's also giving feedback. How can your supervisor or your commander or your leader be more effective to you and to the group? That's important. They need to hear that. We need to hear that. Of course, you have to do it with dignity and respect. But feedback is vital. I call it the critical enabler. Joe Stieberlins was the commander of ATC when I was commanding down at the Columbus Air Force Base. And he gave a series of talks called Lorenz on Leadership. And one of his key takeaways was you're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. And the point of his saying was that you're either seeking to continuously improve or you're ready to sit back and rest upon your laurels about how well and how good you are at the time being. Professional competence is really, really at the heart of what we do in the United States Air Force. At the end of the day, our job is to make sure that iron hits the target, that the cargo gets where it needs to be on time and intact. And if you don't have professional competence, the people that you lead, the people that you are in charge of, aren't going to have the respect for you as a leader, as understanding what we really need to do to get the mission accomplished. So you've constantly got to focus on your own professional competence about how you can make the organization more efficient and more effective. So what can you do? Really, it's all about being the leader that you want others to be to you. And you just never know when that little bit of leadership that you display, that little bit of caring that you show somebody that has the potential, what impact that's eventually going to have. And it can really lead to some really surprising situations. That wouldn't be a good Air Force briefing without a few pictures. These are JTACs with a mighty warthog in the background. They're embedded with some special ops forces somewhere in the world, not unlike what anywhere you can throw a dart and hit the map just about these days. We all love what the warthog can bring to the fight. A lot of death and destruction to the bad guys who deserve it. But what can be better than seeing a Fairchild tanker refueling a warthog? Because that's what we're all about, right? I say we. I haven't been here in Team Fairchild 9 years. I'm still one of you guys. Always. You never forget that. So, what's the big point about all this? What's the point about leadership? So in 2007, I'm the Vice Wing Commander here, and we've got our group coming home from wherever they were deployed at the time, and I'm pinning on a Bronze Star from the Squadron Commander, and of course it's a very generic citation that we read, so I get to talking to him about, what his experiences were, what's the coolest story he had. He talked about one day that they had to do an emergency air refueling for a couple of A-10s that were supporting some special ops troops on the ground. And they were yo-yoing back and forth to the tanker and just kept bringing fire on the bad guys. And ultimately, the good guys were able to get extracted. That sounds really familiar. And then I remembered a story that my son had talked to me about. Specialist Andrew Watkins of the 75th Ranger Regiment during his deployment in Afghanistan about a year ago, when he talked about when two A-10s kept putting fire on the bad guys because they had gotten themselves in a really bad situation. The one thing that was really confusing to him was the A-10s kept coming back and forth one at a time, and he didn't understand why. I said, well, you know why? Because those tankers from Fairchild Air Force Base were giving gas to those guys so that they could save you. Thank you very much for letting me spend some time with you this morning. I really look forward to the opportunity to talk with you during the break lunch.